welcome to Roundtable. Today at the Roundtable, we are going to interview right now a corporate radical. He's a social sculptor. He's also a sports patron, and he's an artisan as well. And he's also into many things. By now, you must have guessed who he is. But if not, he's the group director of the MAS Group's holding, and also he is the director of MAS, managing director of MAS Intimates. He's Mr. Dian Gomes. Good evening, Diane.
Evening.
So there's so many things to actually talk about you. So I think it's best that you give us the introduction, though no, you don't really need an introduction as such. But I think being a very good storyteller as well, I think it's good for me to give that to you to talk about the post that you are in and other posts at the time, and also the other leadership awards you've received.
My current job is I'm a group director of MAS Holdings and the managing director of MAS Intimates, and also heads corporate HR, branding and social responsibility. I've been involved in different organizations. I was president of SEMA a few years back. I'm the vice president of the National Olympic Committee, and I was the president of Sri Lanka Boxing for a number of years. So in addition to my work, I like to get involved in a lot of other areas, you know, which makes a difference to my life and to difference to a lot of others. Regarding awards, there are a number of awards I won, but at the end of the day, awards means nothing, you know. It's what you make out of awards, and, you know, I'd be more interested in making a difference to people than winning awards. But in early 2003, I jointly won the Business Leader of the Year award with Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, the Slim Award for one of Sri Lanka's male icons, and the SEMA Global Leadership Award. I was the runners-up. So, you know, it was exciting when you win awards when you are much younger, because you want to be a corporate hero. But today, if you ask me whether I want to win awards, awards means nothing. You know, awards, you know, will come and awards will go. It's what you make out of your life, what you want to make a difference to other people's lives is much more important than, frankly, winning awards and, you know, talking about the past glory.
So when we talk about making a difference, Diane, I think that is the key thing also in a phase like this where Sri Lanka is now, when it's a post-conflict era. And with your expertise in so many fields, what can you actually tell? Because if you are thinking of taking Sri Lanka to the next level, something that is extremely important is be it corporate entities, be it SMEs, be it government institutions, that people and institutions need to be results oriented and create a winning culture. And as a person who has basically even won awards and done it in the field, what can you tell with respect to Sri Lanka and creating winning cultures?
I think I greatly believe that Sri Lankans can, and impossible is nothing, you know, a quote from Adidas. I think given the right opportunity, the right training and the right guidance, Sri Lankans are world class. We managed to annihilate the world's toughest, ruthless terrorist organization, LTT. For 30 years, maybe we didn't have the faith that we could do it, but we did it. And if you look at any field, you know, I have yet to come across a Sri Lankan doctor, an engineer or an accountant who's gone to the West and, you know, works in the most advanced economies who has failed. So that shows, you know, Sri Lankans can. So I go, you know, when I wake up in the morning, you know, I go to work thinking we are going to win and my team can win. You know, whether it's sports, whether it's my corporate work, you go with that feeling and the faith that, you know, we Sri Lankans can. So first of all, you have to have that faith that you are in a winning team and that you are going to win.
And also, Diane, you are also heading a company where directly about 15,000 employees are reporting to you. So, in a context like that, how do you actually get the best out of people? what examples can we take in actually motivating and inspiring the workforce to go to set targets? How have you done it throughout?
I think first of all I would say you have to walk the talk. You know, if you are a leader, I mean I had to manage large number of people and each of the plants like Slimline, which has 5,000 people in one site in Pannala, or Unicella, which has 3,000 people at Panadura. How do you motivate them? You know, first of all, you need to align them into the company's vision and bring about credibility of your leadership, that you need to walk the talk. If you ask me how I devote my time, 60% of my time, I run an organization which is about 30 billion rupees, and 60% of my time running a 30 billion company, I spend on people. I walk into plants, I would talk to people, and what I would ask is, you know, how can we run the race faster? How can we eliminate the waste? So things, simple things like that. You know, you don't need to talk about great leadership philosophies or great tactical or strategic stuff. Start with the basic stuff, you know, understanding the human behavior. What makes a girl who comes to work and sits in a machine? What does she want? You know, how do you inspire her? So you look at what is the thread? I mean, years, you know, working in Pannala in my much younger days, I realized what makes them tick, what makes them, you know, come together to work. You know, you have to create a brand and to give them some respect that they are no longer jockey operators. They are part of Slimline, you know, team Slimline, you know, to give them absolute some pride. And what are the alignment techniques that, you know, you would use? I can remember in early, I think 1996, I went to Harvard Business School. And they taught me how to align organizations, and I came back more confused because how could I use the Harvard Business School principles into a village in Pannala to bring 2,500 people into a aligned organization. And in my 30s, I never thought that, you know, I was not the leader for them, because I was a plain chief executive. So I wanted to find a leader who could bring you know, all these employees. And I suddenly realized, you know, when we did a, you know, climate survey, we gave 10 names, and which had you know, political leaders, we had musicians, we had cricketers, because Sri Lanka had just won the World Cup, and ultimately, you know, number 7 was Major General Densil Kobakadua, who had nothing, you know, General had died long time ago. But at the end of the day of the climate survey, I realized that General Kobakadua got 99% of the votes, and I was shocked. And I realized, you know, why? How did it happen? You know, General had nothing to do with Slimline. And I suddenly realized, you know, when we did a total climate survey, that 67% of the people were involved in the war. Their brothers were in the army. They were fighting a battle for, you know, years, and General was a true hero at that time. So I realized that what you think, coming from a very Western, Colombo educated background, the people in the village, it's not the same thing, it's not the same thinking. So I used some of those concepts to bring people together. For an example, once we found that out, we want to do something for war heroes. So, you know, we wanted to collect some money, and that time we had 13,000 people across MAS Holdings, and we managed to collect nearly 6 million rupees within, you know, few hours to build 10 houses in Pannala and 10 houses in Horana. So how do you align? It's a thread, and you need to understand at each level what drives them, what drives the motivation, what brings them together as a team. When it comes to executives, it's very different, you know, so you use some different techniques. And I've used things like sports, you know, into a great team building I would say, a tool, because, in my lifetime, I've seen Sri Lanka come as a nation very few times, and one was when we won the 1996 World Cup. That time, people were not politically or racially or any other way, biased. They all played like a Sri Lankan team to win the World Cup. So that's why we use, especially at MAS Holdings, we have nearly 100 people who represent Sri Lanka in 21 sports. And we bring all of them together. I mean,
So you are discussing basically ways and means you are getting your employees and the task force together.
Yes.
So it can be by way of sports or by way of actually addressing their needs.
Yes.
So I think sports is a different topic because you are really passionate about sports.
Yes.
And you've gone out of the way also to build these sportsmen and sportswomen. But tell us, Diane, as to why you took special interest in the field of sports, and also investing a lot of time and your energy building up these sportsmen. What was the reason behind?
I mean, I myself, I boxed for Royal College from 1973 to 77. I was Sri Lanka's junior flyweight champion. But once I left college, I never thought that I'll, wear my gloves again. But then, subsequently in 1999, I became a sports administrator. I was the youngest referee judge, by the age of 20, still the record holds. And then I got involved in the administration part. How I got involved was 1999, I went for SAF Games. And then the chef de mission was today the commander of the army, Lieutenant General Jayasuriya, and Hemasiri Fernando, who was the president of the National Olympic Committee. They knew what my background was, what my corporate background was, and my sports background was. So I can still remember Hemasiri talking to me and saying, Diane, if you get involved in boxing, which is closer to my heart, most probably, within 8 to 12 years, we might be able to produce an Olympic medalist. And I took that task and brought in 5 schoolboys from underprivileged backgrounds to Slimline and started Slimline Boxing Club. So that was the initial beginnings of how I got involved. I mean, I personally, did athletics and boxing for Royal.
So it's apart from your personal liking towards
Yes.
sports, is it also because you thought that sports also build the human being to become part of the team and also to be more efficient in their work? Is that the reason why? Or
of course, when I recruit people, one of the main things that I look at is, we say, for an example, a management trainee job. We have nearly 2,000 people applying for 20 slots. And most of them are very, very good, academically very good. Then we look at people who have done sports. The reason sports is, when you do sports, whether it's synchronized swimming, whether it's boxing, whether it's cricket or rugby or athletics or any sport, it teaches you how to accept defeat. In life, you need to understand, when you recruit somebody, the employee must first understand what it takes to lose and then to come back and to win. So if you take people, who has understood defeat and also understood what it takes to win, they can become fantastic employees. They are those people who would go beyond that, extra 9 yards. And I have 2 daughters, both represent Sri Lanka in synchronized swimming and water polo. And what I basically want them is first for them to understand what it takes to lose. Not to win. As a parent, what it takes to lose first, understand defeat. And I have gone for numerous international meets with the Sri Lankan boxing team, with Manju Wanniyarachchi and Anuruddha Ratnayaka. And for 9 years, we tasted defeat. There were times that, I have cried at the ringside, by merely losing by 1 point. But the whole idea is never allowing them to give up. So you take an employees,